even the fixed, their debt service and their working capital requirements is hitting them very badly. And the Amber project, which were basically under recovery basis trying to pull through, this will also become red, and another about 13 to 14 gigawatt of the assets will become NPA slowly, because the moment they lose the resilience to pay to the bankers.
Okay, so that's a sorry state of affairs over there. Prashant Jain also joins in. Mr. Jain, the other thing I wanted to discuss with you is this whole stressed asset resolution under the Samadhan scheme. The last time you had indicated to us that it was not moving anywhere because of, a lack of consensus amongst lenders. Is there still a standstill on that front?
Yeah, good morning. Actually, the situation is same at this point of time also, so nothing is moving as regards to the Samadhan scheme, because outside NCLT bringing a consensus among the lenders is a difficult task at this point of time. So unless the assets move to NCLT, there will be no resolution. I don't think so.
This is a fairly high-powered set of guys that you have met, Principal Secretary to the Prime Minister, the Secretary to the Power Ministry and the Power Minister himself. Didn't they have anything to say?
So, if you see, HLEC recommendations on receivables came in January. And HLEC has clearly noted the alarming position and has suggested bill discounting backstopped by RBI in a similar manner as a tripartite agreement with NTPC. Now, we are told that it may not be possible for government to implement that recommendation before elections, because they need the approval of states to sign the TPA. Now, we have requested them that can you, in the interim, give some loan to DISCOMs only against receivables. One way is that they get the loan, and we said, please pay this money directly to bankers. We do not want this money. Let them reduce our debt obligation and remove the default, which is imminent now. In fact, they have considered this. They said we'll work on it. Secondly, we suggested, can the bank remove this amount of money from our default list? Because it's none of my fault. I have supplied power and I'm getting a double whammy because I'm really unable to buy coal. On the other side, what MOP is trying to help us out is actually not yielding that benefit because of failure of bankers to come forward and help. See, to help stress asset, they had aggregated PPAs and floated PPAs and signed agreements worth 2,000 megawatts. Now, RCAM is one name. They got the highest share at 4.25. Now, I am told other day, 3 days back, that RCAM is running pillar to post to all banks to start supplying against that PPA, but no one is willing to give him 65 crore of additional working capital because he was on a stress list before. So there is no way that banks can come forward. This is a breach of covenants. So now it's basically a catch-22 situation. So we even met the bankers, also came for the MOP meeting. We said at least those projects which are in the category of being helped, of getting out of stress, please arrange some money for the enhanced working capital and do not link group exposures, earlier defaults to this, because they want to start a new chapter. Unless the bankers sit down with MOP and decide to handhold these projects for next 3-4 months, even the MOP efforts to alleviate stress will come to naught.
Okay. Well, I don't know if bankers are going to do that. It's ultimately the depositors' money, and depositors can't be funding state governments unless the state governments pay up. So there is another party that also has to come to the table. Mr. Khurana, I completely understand the catch-22 that the power producers are in. But Mr. Jain, what's the situation at your end? You're not a part of this unfortunate bottleneck that power producers are facing?
Yeah, fortunately, we are not a part of this mess at this point of time, because most of the power what we are selling to the DISCOMs, it's a low-cost power, and that's the real advantage when you have, and I always say that in order to get a merit order dispatch and also to have a payment security, you should be producing a low cost power. So, but you know, the situation is needs to be settled by twofold things, which I genuinely believe. Number one is that this sector is highly taxed. So in terms of, you know, you cannot get the GST claim, you cannot, you know, your coal transportation cost is continuously going up, you are putting the clean energy cess, and then everything needs to be passed through to the consumer, and that's why the cost of purchase of power for discoms is continuously going up. And on another side, there is no fiscal discipline in the states because of the political doles, and then that's why you create a catch-22 situation of this kind. That's point number one. So this needs to be corrected by reducing the taxes in the sectors. Second thing, which is also very important, to create a level playing field, because for IPPs, the biggest problem is that they are not getting the level playing field with the public sector, and who are getting the preferential coal, preferential railways, preferential PPAs, and all those things. If these are mitigated, then you are talking about the long-term resolution of the problem for this particular sector. What Mr. Khurana explained, these are the short-term and medium-term. These are also very, very required, but there is a long-term resolution which also is required for the sector.